Hello, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Rabbi Ashlag, named after Zohar Kabbalah, Yedida Cohen, and her deeper understand Jewish.
A friend of mine introduced me to a student of Rabbi Ashlag, and he saw that I was really looking, and he asked me, did I know anything about Rabbi Ashlag? I didn't know anything. I thought maybe he was a rabbi from, medieval times or something. I had no idea. And I said no, and he gave me one of his books to look at, one of his introductions to the Zohar. And I looked at it and I read it and I thought, my God, this is what I've been waiting for. And it sounds strange to say it, but I felt as if I had waited not just this lifetime, but many lifetimes to reach this material. And I realized that incredible depth that Rabbi Ashlag was talking at, even though at that time I didn't understand almost a word. And I asked this man, would he teach me? And at that time, teaching women was very unusual. But I was very persistent. And at first, he was very hesitant. And then we started to learn just sort of like the outlines. My husband then got interested, and then he started to teach both of us together. And that's how I became really involved with the work of Rabbi Ashlag. He's got a direct perception, a description of the higher worlds, which in itself is not necessarily interesting. What's interesting about it is that through his description of where we come from as human beings, we can understand what our processes are. We begin to see how complex we really are, and we can begin to see what is that inner essence that is the core of our reality, and that essence, of course, is God. The light of God shines within each one of us. And yet he doesn't describe that in some sort of outer world, outer fairy, way that is very grounded, in a way scientific, his way, and that appeals to me. I like his down-to-earth approach. So on the one hand, he is dealing with the inner spirituality, because although we say the higher worlds, where are they? They're within us. The higher worlds are actually deeper and deeper and deeper within us. And he's describing that. And so he's, in a way, telling me who I am. And the more clearly I know who I am, the better I can function in this world, and the better I can relate to God, who's my creator. And my relationships improved. I began to understand more clearly the role of giving instead of receiving. I could understand Judaism more clearly. I could understand why we are doing mitzvot, commandments, which sometimes are so ritual, they seem outer actions. And through the work of Rabbi Ashlag, I've begun to understand that those actions have deep inner significance and cosmic significance. They help bring the light not just for me, but they help bring the light for everybody. We'd been studying the introductions to Kabbalah by Rabbi Ashlag for a while. He wrote several introductions, all of them deeper, each one deeper than the other. And there were some works in English at the time, but not that much. And both of us felt that this work needed to come out in as authentic as possible. We felt authenticity was very important because Rabbi actually accurate in his language. And this book, the first book, In the Shadow of the Ladder, came out in 2003 and proved to be quite a success. People were very interested and very pleased to receive this work in the English language. And then we began to get emails telling us, can you do more? Are you going to do another one? And I began to think, what does more mean? Do people more quantity, or do they want to go in? And Kabbalah itself is hologramic in nature. Everything is contained within everything else. And we find this in the introduction to the Zohar as well. We find that inside the sentences that Rabbi Ashlag is writing, there's a wealth of ideas. He writes on many levels at once. so I conceived the idea that Rabbi Ashlag himself was such a fantastic teacher that he himself could teach his own introduction. We don't need anybody as an intermediary in between. So I simply took explanations that he gives dotted about all over his many works and put them next to the relevant passages in one of the introductions. And that gets the new book. And it's called A Tapestry for the Soul. And it enables anybody, together with a group or by themselves, to go into the work of Rabbi Ashlag and truly go deeply in and understand his work. You don't need an intermediary. You can do it yourself. I think the importance of learning a work, of any spiritual work, I think, is that it doesn't stay up in the head, that it has to come down into the body, into the action, into our relationships, into everything we do. And that's the purpose of the wisdom, to enlighten all of our lives, not just let it stay up as some theoretical idea. And that's one of the things that I do see in the work of Rabbi Ashlag. He teaches us all the time that the only purpose of learning is in order to bring it through into reality. And that our purpose on this world is to give. It's to give compassion, it's to give love, it's to give kindness, it's to give whatever we can in whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. To move away from the focus on ourselves, on our personal self, and to be more present for the other person. And that, of course, is God out there. The other person for us at that moment is God. And that's, so it brings it through into the action. And I think that's important for me.
In an introduction to a commentary on the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, Ibn Ezra, a medieval Jew, relates how when God had completed the miracle of creation, he turned to his angels and asked if they were satisfied. We are, they replied, "You haven't given us anything to pray by." So the Lord gave us music. He made the birds to sing, the winds to whisper, the sea to sigh, and filled our ears with the possibility of song.
Shir HaShirim asher lishloime, herzlich liebster ist ein, ich kein min shikois pehu, ki toivem nu dachum eyem.
Ich kann die Wörter nicht verstehen, nur ich will sei Sinnen schön, wer von Himmeler Musik klingen soll mit Fried und Glück.
Schwell die Lieder, singten wieder, ewig nur vor dir.
Sing sein Liebe wie der Rebe, sing sein Lob für mich.
Shir HaShirim, heute Schleume geschrieben, sein liebster Shalom ist, dort göttlich gesungen. Shir HaShirim, häufig geblieben, das Lied von die Liedste
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We would love to hear from you, so please find us on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions Network. As always, from me, Nikki, and the entire team, shalom and have a safe and peaceful week.
himmlischen Chor.